the new leader of the Scottish Conservative Party, a young fellow. He may hopefully he's got good potential. We would advise him to be a Unionist carnivore, not a Unionist herbivore. Far too many Unionist herbivores around. Like the SNP will do something cracked, and the Unionists will go, "Oh well, that's it's meant well, blah blah blah." No, no, no. They don't mean well. So you've got to be a carnivore. So here are some suggestions for the new Scottish Conservative leader to get his teeth into if he is indeed a Unionist carnivore. One, you have to sort out the civil service, which essentially runs Scotland and which does the bidding of the Scottish Nationalist administration. You have to sort that out and you have to stop them from doing the bidding. Now, we're not talking here about the civil service helping to enact just the normal day-to-day government of Scotland, such as when do the bins get collected and how do we do the dog licensing and that sort of stuff. Obviously, that's just stuff that has to be done. That's the job of the civil service. What we're talking about is when the Scottish National Party promote a separatist agenda and they hitch the civil service to do all their research. In other words, they hitch British civil service here in Scotland to figure out ways to destroy Britain. They hitch the civil service to separatist bandwagon in order to find out ways how to make the British civil service in Scotland essentially redundant. And during the in the run up to the 2014 referendum, the civil service produced this book for the Scottish National Party. It's called Fraudulent Costs, okay, which is what we call it. It's an exact anagram of what it was actually titled, which was Scotland's Future. That's an exact anagram of Scotland's future. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? Fraudulent Costs. Anyway, this is a doorstopper of a book. It is 650 pages, 650 pages. And you could say, well, nobody reads it. Well, it got sent to anybody who asked it, and thousands, tens of thousands of copies were printed and went out. And that was produced by the British Civil Service in Scotland. And it's about how to destroy the United Kingdom, essentially. Now, how on earth did that happen? How on earth was it that the British Civil Service could get enlisted by the Scottish National Party to do its bidding in order to promote its separatist agenda? Well, we know exactly why that happened, and it's to do with the way that the so-called devolution settlement is constructed, where everything is considered devolved except that which is written down as reserved. And of course, written down as reserved was not, don't let the British Civil Service try to destroy the United Kingdom if Alex Salmond tells them to do so. That wasn't written down, you know. So it's just considered to be devolved. And so they did it. Now, that's, of course, the wrong way to do it. What has to happen is that everything is considered reserved. Everything except that which you specifically write down as devolved. That's the correct way it should have been done. That's not the way that the Labour Party set it up. And we wrote an article on that, which we can post there in the comments. So we cannot allow this British civil service in Scotland to do that again. Because if God forbid, there were a second referendum and the British civil service is allowed to do what it did last time and is hitched by Nicola Sturgeon to do her bidding, then we cannot compete with that. Okay, we cannot compete with a system that uses our taxpayers' money to produce works like this. We can't compete with that. Unionism cannot compete with that. Okay, so we cannot allow British taxpayer money to be used by the civil service at the bidding of Nicola to promote her separatist agenda. We cannot allow that. And that is something that the new leader of the Scottish Tories must get his teeth into, and he must make it an issue, because we here in Scotland have our own deep state, and it's a very incestuous deep state, and it runs through the media, through the SNP, and into the civil service. And that needs sorted out, because if that incestuous triumvirate, if that's the word, are allowed to do separatist bidding at a second referendum, then we're lost, because we cannot compete with that kind of money that we're paying for. We're paying for as well.